Hey, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Sexual Life. This is a place to be for education, entertainment, information, and lifestyle videos for asexuals. So, subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. But it's also for any sexuality who wants to have these things in their life too and learn more about asexuality. So, Kung Fu Panda 4 is what I'm going to be reviewing right now. So if you don't like spoilers, then please do not watch this video because I am going to spoil the storyline for you. First of all, I have to say I love the Kung Fu Panda movies. Now, Kung Fu Panda 4, I've already seen once, but I actually saw it with my ex. And when I saw it with my ex, he fell asleep during it. And I was kind of nodding off too. And I thought at the time I was with him that it was a boring movie, right? But having gone to see it on a self date by myself today, I absolutely love this movie and it's far from boring. So it just goes to show you when you're with someone who's excitable, enthusiastic about life, who's bubbly, energetic, vibrant, and you're bringing all that energy to the movie screen, to the cinema, and you're just so in your element and feeling so good about yourself and so good about life. It just goes to show what a difference it can make to the movie experience. Yes, I'm talking about myself. So being with myself watching this movie was a completely different experience to being with my ex. When I was with my ex, I was very distracted by him. And like I said, he fell asleep during the movie. And then I was kind of feeling tired as well. And so I didn't really get the movie. I didn't really understand the plot. And so I decided that I didn't want the memories of my ex to be associated with this movie because I've seen 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've actually got at least one of them on disc as well. And I really love the movies. And I thought, surely this is going to be a really good film as well. But because I saw it with my ex, then that altered the experience for me. Like he was a distraction to me, right? And also falling asleep. I just couldn't really understand the storyline at the time, but I totally got it this time, and I'm so glad I went and saw it on my own because I put happy memories now of that movie. I've put my vibrant, energetic self energy into the atmosphere in that cinema of watching that movie just with myself, and I say with pride that I love this movie. So Po is Kung Fu Panda, and he's also known as the Dragon Warrior, right? So if you watch the other movies, you know that's where he's at. But in this movie, Master Shifu tells him he's got to give up his position, basically, of the Dragon Warrior. He's got to find a successor because he's going to be the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. So yeah. And he's got like this green staff that has like special powers. So anyway, he doesn't want to stop being the Dragon Warrior. And when Master Shifu tells him this, he's like, but I'm not inspirational because they need an inspirational leader, and I'm not the inspirational leader. I'm the Dragon Warrior. I kick butt. So anyway, what happens is there seems to be one of the people he's meant to, well, I say people, they're not people, are they? Characters he's meant to have killed before. It looks like this character's like still alive or come back from the dead, right? And this character in the movie basically decimates this place where the people who are kind of behind Poe reside, and so he causes havoc. But there's a caveat to this because it isn't really him. And what we find out from the movie, there's this fox, right? And this fox steals a lot of stuff. And so the fox tries to steal from Poe. And the fox is really good at, like, I would say kung fu moves. The fox is great at all the kind of like martial arts stuff in general. And is a match for Poe. So the fox starts off by being really disruptive, trying to steal stuff from the Valley of Peace, trying to steal stuff like from the heirlooms and all this type of lot, the treasure passed down from generations. And Poe has to stop this fox. And then what happens is he puts the fox in jail, but the fox then says that I can't remember the name of the character. But there's a lot of characters in this. So the character that's meant to have escaped or been brought back from the dead or whatever's going on, right? That character, you actually find out later they are dead, right? But that character is not the actual character. What it is there's a chameleon and they can turn into anything. So they turned into this character in order to trick the people and get into the Valley of Peace and try to overtake it. And what they need to do is get the staff that Poe's got, because only then can they rule the world, if you like. They can rule their vicinity and rule their world. So I'm going to try and condense it as much as possible. So the fox befriends Poe, and Poe lets the fox out of jail because the fox says, I know where this chameleon is. And the fox is the one who's told Poe that it's a chameleon, really. And so Poe's like, oh, I have to stop them. And the fox is like, well, I know all about them. You need me. So Poe and the fox set off for an adventure, the last Dragon Warrior adventure, before Poe has to become a spiritual leader. Poe has actually interviewed, like in a X Factor style, has interviewed these different animals for the position to take over his reign, if you like, but he doesn't like any of them. And Master Shifu's peed off with him because he can't find a successor, because he doesn't want to, basically. He wants to just eat dumplings and be the Dragon Warrior. I always love Poe. I love the fact Jack Black plays Poe as well. I think Jack brings a lot of his own character into the Panda. And so, anyway, Poe's two fathers worry about him. So Poe's two fathers end up following him. And there's some really funny scenes. And Poe ends up being in this place which is like a bar, but it's like a wooden shack. And it's placed on top of a mountain. And Poe needs to get information about, where they're going and they need to get information basically with the fox to progress their journey. And anyway, there ends up being a lot of animals there, and the fox is very sly, and the fox plays poker with the owner of the bar. It's kind of like a cafe bar restaurant type of place, and it's a pig who's like the owner, right? Which I didn't realize that Mr. Beast plays this pig. I just looked it up, and in the cast, Mr. Beast, a famous YouTuber, plays the pig, which is really insane. Just shows what you can do when you're a famous YouTuber, right? What's possible? I always think of possibilities. So anyway, they're in this bar, cafe type of place with all these unsavory characters. And the fox is really sly, plays poker and beats the owner at poker, and then basically uses that money to pay for food from this place. And so they're getting free food, basically. And then the chips that, the poker chips that the fox has basically swapped or been concealing, ends up tipping out all over the floor. And there's this massive fight that breaks out, and this thing's rocking on the mountain. It's quite funny. And anyway, eventually they get out and leave there. And then the two dads that come after Poe, they follow in Poe's footsteps. And Poe's dad, they've got two dads, a panda dad and a bird dad, right? The panda dad ends up kind of pretending to be like Poe and be warrior-like. And so it's quite interesting in this movie when you see the panda dad working with, obviously, the bird dad's really funny, but the panda dad becoming an actual warrior in and of himself and becoming a lot stronger because of his son, and because he has to step up to the plate to be the father he's not been in the past, because he's not been there. And the two fathers are always helping each other, which is really cool. I really like that. But they're following Poe because they think Poe needs help, and with this journey, because it's very, very dangerous. And so what you find out throughout the movie is the fox and Poe are becoming like friends, but then the fox, spoiler alert, the fox betrays Poe because the fox is working for the chameleon, and Poe ends up getting trapped. And the fox takes the staff, gives it to the chameleon. Then the chameleon commands the spirits using like the staff with the dragon warrior magic, if you like, commands all the past nemesises that Poe has defeated before from the spirit realm, because they're like dead, I'm guessing. And so the chameleon brings all these out, and each one in turn steals their soul to get their kung fu powers. So it's the most powerful. The chameleon's meant to be the most powerful thing in the world because of all the different kung fu magic powers that it's taken from all these animals from the spirit realm, which is Poe's nemesis. And once the souls are sucked out, the chameleon leaves them all in like these metal cages. And so they watch from afar Poe try to defeat the chameleon. And Poe does put up a really good fight, but then the chameleon changes into Poe. And Poe has to kick his own butt, as he said, I'm going to kick my butt. And eventually what happens is you do see in the movie the fact that the fox was taken in by the chameleon. You find this out a bit before the spirit realm thing happens. And the chameleon took took the fox in. And the chameleon reveals this to Poe while he's caged up before he escapes and gets the staff back eventually, right? But he has to defeat this chameleon, which has got all these powers. And so there's a lot of real good action in this, where Poe is trying to fight all these different characters, all these spirits that have gone into the chameleon. Chameleon's changing into all these different characters and multiple characters at once. And Poe says it's awesome. Like, it's really scary, but it's awesome. And I can tell what Poe means, because it's like, this chameleon is made up of loads of different animals, which is pretty cool in terms of special effects as well. So what you find out is the fox was taken in as an orphan by the chameleon, but the chameleon has been using the fox simply because the fox at that time was fearless, and vulnerable, basically. Vulnerable but fearless, and a fighter, and not caring about anything or anyone at that time, because they had to survive. They were in survival mode. So the chameleon took advantage of the fox's survival mode as a kid, as an orphan, and took them in their home and taught them like kung fu skills and all the different types of fighting skills, and the fact that it doesn't matter about people's feelings. So all the things a narcissist and abuser would basically be doing, and people with real severe personality disorders, mental health disorders that are more of a sinister nature, shall we say, rather than ones that are just like everyday. So yeah, it's very good in terms of representing how someone who's like young, a child, for example, can get sucked in by someone who's older, who purposely uses them and manipulates them because they're emotionally vulnerable, and mind manipulates them into thinking that it's good to like only do things for people if you're going to get something out of them, and like don't care about people's feelings and always be on top, you've got to win, at all costs to other people. And the fox eventually realizes that this chameleon has been using them all along and doesn't care about them. They're disposable to them. And so the fox realizes that Poe genuinely cared about them. And so the fox helps Poe to defeat the chameleon, who's been its caretaker for pretty much all its life. and Poe enables the fox to get the staff and basically to defeat the chameleon. But Poe's like, you forgot one thing. You have to say the magic word, and then the chameleon finally goes, and all the spirits come out of the chameleon, and the spirit animals who've been Poe's nemesis, Poe's enemy, if you like, actually say that the leader says to Poe that is it Mowgli, which was the turtle, I think it was, chose the right person in you anyway. That you were right to be chosen as the dragon warrior. And they're kind of like bowing down to Poe, and Poe then sends them back to the spirit realm, and they take the chameleon with them. So I thought it was a really good, happy ending. There was lots of action in this movie. There was funny moments where Poe was end up being wanted with the fox. The fox ended up being surrounded by their so-called sinister friends, if you like. Maybe sinister, not quite the word, but friends that are really liars and corrupt characters. I was going to say people, but corrupt characters. And there's some interesting scenes where the fox first goes into this like lair of different characters, and they're like going to like kill the fox and Poe is like trying to use inspirational things, saying, you can do the wrong thing or you can do the right thing. It's your choice, but it's better to do the right thing, and then you can become better later. But they take it, or words, they're similar words. I can't remember the exact words, but basically Poe says something inspirational about do the right thing, even if it's not what you want to do or something, or even if you don't think that way, do it anyway, because you can choose to do the right thing. You don't have to be this way. And they take it as, oh, we're delaying doing the right thing, like, because we're delaying gratification of violence because we really want to be violent. So it's kind of like Poe's trying to do inspirational stuff, saying violence is not the answer. You can become better people. And then you have these bunnies that look sweet and innocent, and then they turn into these nasty, like, rabid bunnies with massive teeth, like over characterized bunnies. So instead of being sweet and innocent, the next minute they're showing all their teeth and like savage bunnies. And so that's quite funny from a juxtaposition point of view, that you wouldn't think innocent bunnies would behave like that. Obviously, if you've seen some other animation movies, you'll know sometimes they do behave like that. In some of the other movies, the bunnies look sweet and innocent, but really they're some of the worst characters. So there's quite a lot of contrasting moments. There's a time when Poe is wanted because when he goes to the place where the chameleon is, where the fox takes him, he's not known there. He's not known as a dragon warrior. He's not famous anymore. And so he's like, why doesn't anyone know me? You know what I mean? So there's some hilarious moments, but I really love the film. I thought it was very action-packed. I love the storyline. There was quite a lot of intricate storylines going on, intertwined with one major storyline. And I thought it was really, really interesting. And Poe in the end decided that the fox should be his predecessor, and that he can become like the spiritual leader. And so you see at the end, if you stay to the very end, the credits, you see him teaching the fox more kung fu and how to become the dragon warrior. So I'm very interested to see what Kung Fu Panda 5 will be like, with the fox as the dragon warrior and Poe as the spiritual leader. In some ways, I think Poe would have been better suited to stay as the dragon warrior and to have the fox as the spiritual leader, because the fox seems to be able to say more inspirational stuff. But then the fox has come from a background of lies and deceit and slyness and all that type of thing. But they were tricked by the chameleon into thinking that's how you survive in life. Well, it is a survival instinct rather than caring about people. So the chameleon used the fox. And I think that's very representative of real life, how some adults take advantage of children and use them It's a metaphor for how people in general, regardless of age, can sometimes take advantage of the vulnerable people in this world and can use them and then drop them when they're not people pleasing anymore, when they're not doing what they're told anymore, and that isn't care or love. That is like being a slave, being trapped and being like a servant. So I think there's some adult themes in this movie in that way. And I did overall really love it, and it was much better experience going to see it on my own as a single solo artist of life. So I really recommend self-dating. That's what I'm doing every week. I've got into a habit of doing that with myself. I didn't have much sleep because I've been at a boot camp for the last 2 days, and today I went to the boot camp online. This is after the cinema, and I was really tired. I didn't get much sleep, but I'm like, you still got to show up for yourself, Sandra. You still got to go if you want to see a movie. And I really wanted to see this movie again on my own because I wanted to put some good thoughts and feelings, emotion with this movie. I didn't want it reminding me of my ex. And like I said, I was bored with it when I was with my ex, but when I've seen it on my own, it's an amazing movie. I would highly recommend it. There's no sex, which is great because I don't like sex in movies. There's a lot of action. Poe's amazing. The characters are great. The stories are really nicely intertwined, and I loved it. So it just goes to show you how you can have a completely different experience when you see the same movie by who you choose to go with and surround yourself with, and their attitude and the way they are. Right? They fell asleep in it some of the time, right? And I was kind of falling asleep nearly. I was nodding off because I was with them at the time. But to actually go there myself, being back in my superpower, because I lost my spark when I was with them, right? I wasn't, they didn't really appreciate me for who I was. And so going on my own now as a confident, empowered person who's back in her bubbly, energetic, vibrant, loud, lovely self. Obviously, they don't know I'm loud in the cinema because, mind you, I laugh loudly actually, but it just felt so good. So the experience was completely different. So if you have seen movies with other people, I would urge you to try and think about seeing those movies again, but by yourself, especially if it's a movie series that you've gone to before. Like I've seen the other three, right, on my own. I think I might have seen the one with someone else and then watched it on my own, but I've seen three on my own, the 1, 2, 3. And it was such a different experience seeing it on your own when you're in your own personal power, when you're comfortable, happy, relaxed. You've not got someone who's not supporting you, not being there for you enough, and not making you feel like happy to be you, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I just can see the difference now. I can see the difference and how much more happier I am as a single person, as a single solo artist of life. I'm so much more relaxed and vibrant and energetic. I can be, when I'm in my zone, when I'm vibrant, energetic, and bubbly and loud, that's actually when I'm relaxed. That's actually when I'm at most peaceful and relaxed, is when I'm being me. When people say, oh, I want peace, to me, it's like I want noise, but to get peace, because it's on my vibe. I don't know how to describe it. I seem to be like an anomaly. It's probably because I'm an extrovert as well. And I love my personality. I personally love being loud, bubbly, energetic, talkative. I love having the whole magical experience of the cinema. Now, when I go on my own, it's a magical experience because I'm not distracted by other people or other things people are doing. On the last movie I watched with my ex, which wasn't the Kung Fu Panda, it was another one. It was the Godzilla versus Kong. He was having his phone on. You know what I mean? I'm like, can you just put it away because it's distracting me? You know what I mean? He was more interested in scrolling for a bag. You know what I mean? So, some of it he did while the credits were on, but I had to ask before the actual film came on if he could like turn it off. He's like, "Oh, I'll just put it in my pocket." But it was better that he did that. So I'm glad he did that because it just distracts me. I don't like being distracted. Like I don't need people putting their phones on when I'm trying to like watch a movie. It distracts out the corner of my eye. But that's when I found out that he likes to speed up YouTube videos to 1.5 times because he doesn't like someone who speaks slowly. He doesn't like people speaking slowly. Yeah, he told me to slow down speaking because I speak fast. So that was basically like taking part of my essence of who I am away, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not going to do that again. So I'm really happy to be back being me. I'm happy to be back being bubbly, energetic, full of life, Sandra. I'm happy to be confident me again, to be highly productive, to do my career stuff, to live for me, and to live to help others as well. You know, I love helping others with my books and this show. I love it when I have beautiful comments from you. I love it when you give me positive feedback. I love hearing from you. I love you taking part in these shows as well. I really appreciate you and adore you so much. Don't forget to grab a copy of Diary Confessions of a Hyper Romantic Asexual. This is a best-selling book this year. I actually bought this book out after I'd split with my ex, and it became #1 hot new release on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk, and bestseller in multiple categories on both those. So go and grab your copy. It's a really good book. And Asexual Perspectives if you're new to asexuality or want to know more. And Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook is my superhero autobiographical book that can help you have less pain, more energy, and feel happier in your life. Even if you don't have fibro, the principles still apply, right? It's autobiographical. It's a superhero style book. So if you love superhero style movies, grab that book. And don't forget, the Diary Confessions is not just a confessions book of my life, like a behind the scenes of this channel, behind the scenes. It's also 78 life lessons to ace your life, some of which I started to go through on this channel. So have you ever had a vision that came true, but not in the way you thought it would? If so, you can probably relate to this book. This book helps you with life and dating, self-confidence, and much, much more. So go and get your copy now on Amazon. All these are on Amazon. I'm going to see you soon in the next video live stream. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't done so already. And if you've seen Kung Fu Panda 4, I'd love to know what you thought of the movie. Did you see it alone or with friends or family? And what did you think of it? Did you like it? What part of the storylines did you like? Or main storyline did you like? What did you think of the action, the characters? Just put it down below. What do you think of the whole Kung Fu Panda series? I love it personally. So highly recommend it. So yeah, see you soon next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. And I'll see you soon. Bye.